Hey guys, welcome. Armchair Conversations with Rob. We've been playing with the idea of the stories you tell and writing different ones and knowing that you have the power to write a story that's more conducive to the pleasure and the happiness that you want to have in life. This is just another quick add on, and I definitely want to tie it back into the concept of the story you tell because the stories you tell really do influence why you do what you do. Um, And it's really important, I think, to know why you do what you do. Um, and like I said, the story isn't the only reason why you do what you do, but I think it is a very important part of it because it will affect what you do and it'll affect why you do it. And so you have to kind of figure out why you do what you do. You have to figure out whether you do what you do for you or you do it for an outside purpose. Because a lot of times we tend to for lack of a better word, put the blame on things outside of ourselves. We will behave in a certain way, talk in a certain way, think in a certain way, talk to ourselves in a certain way based on what we feel is outside influence. Um, oh, I talk to myself that way because I was born here, or I live there, or I'm this color, or I'm that ethnic class, or I'm that social class. And none of those things have to be true except if you decide so. We tell ourselves these stories, and these stories color how we behave. And they even color why we want to behave in a certain way. So when you tell yourself a disempowering story, a lot of times it will affect why you behave a certain way and the type of things that you do. Just like if you tell a good story about yourself, that changes things too. It's kind of like when you give a child praise for something good, they tend to, depending on the other programming that the child has, they may tend to repeat that thing in the effort to gain more praise and more pleasure from the repetition of it. By the same token, if you tell a child bad things, things that it doesn't, that they're going to make it feel bad, it can either do one of two things. It can either internalize the behavior and begin a self-fulfilling prophecy that ultimately leads to issues and potentially destruction, or that child can um, be perhaps coerced into going in a different direction. Uh, and it does work. People have been using this kind of technique on children and on adults and their friends and family and even their pets for years. The carrot and the stick that people talk about, showing somebody how something can benefit their life versus what's going to happen if they don't do it. Motivating factors on both ends of the spectrum and very powerful and popular. Um, and so you do that to yourself by the stories you tell and what you do because of the stories you tell. Um, it is truly the self-fulfilling prophecy. If you always tell yourself that you're worthless or you're not good enough or you can't because, then that's exactly what happens. You can't because. And then you'll do the things that get you to a level of fulfilling that because your brain doesn't want to turn you into a liar when you say something. It's kind of like when, and this has probably happened to everybody, somebody sends you into the kitchen to get something, and maybe you don't really want to go, and so you don't see it. Like, Robbie, go in there and get me the salt. Well, I can't find the salt. Well, it's in there on the second shelf, in the cabinet on the right. Um, well, okay. You get up and you go in there. I can't find the salt. It's on the second shelf. Well, I can't find it. It's not here. Then finally, if it goes on long enough, the person gets exasperated and they come in, they reach right past your face and go, "What is this?" Okay. And the question that was put in a topic of discussion I heard from somebody else was, did your eyes see the salt? And the answer is actually yes, but your brain didn't allow you to perceive the salt because you said 15 times in the course of not really wanting to do it anyway, I can't find salt. Well, your story works a very similar way. You tell yourself stories about why you can't have something, and you will literally do the things that make that story come true. Um, there are times when you will dumb down your abilities, you will downplay them, and you will um, behave according to what you believe you don't have. So you may be very talented, um, and because maybe you don't want to put the work ethic behind your talent, you may say, "Oh, I'm just lazy," or whatever it may be. And so, therefore, that talent is not developed because you have told yourself that you're lazy or incapable. And so, then the behavior behind that causes the result, which is your talent not being developed, to come to fruition. But, you can take that and flip it to another direction and say that I can and I will. And tell yourself good things about yourself, like, I am. And depending on what you what you want to feel about yourself that you're okay with, you may say different things. I'm good looking, or I'm rich, or I'm intelligent, or I'm smooth, slick, sneaky. I mean, whatever it is. But you tell that story, and then usually you have some backstory to back it up. You know, I'm good looking because women have always said that I'm whatever. But you don't know. You going on what somebody else said, and you decide to internalize it because maybe that made you feel good, and you kept that one. When the truth might be, you might be butt ugly. Okay, it shouldn't be a reason to stop you from growing and doing what you need to do in your life, but you get the point. Okay, so again, think about the stories you tell yourself and think about what the behaviors are that are behind the stories, because it's real important to know that the story you tell yourself is going to be backed up by all the other things in your life to make it come to reality, both for good and for bad. And my thing is, if you're going to tell a story, make it juicy. And to me, making it juicy is about having something really interesting happen. Again, I don't think you can eliminate every single imperfect thing from your life, but you can eliminate a lot of them. Because sometimes, if you look at it as a pecking order, if you give a damn about a pecking order, the person that's at the top of a pecking order, especially in, like, for example, for martial arts and fighting, okay, the person at the top of the pecking order has eliminated enough behaviors, okay, to be ahead of others in that area. Well, people of quality and people that are developing themselves end up on different levels of the pecking order in our regular everyday society, based on the things that they've gotten rid of and the things that they've embraced. So be willing to tell yourself a different story because it absolutely influences what you do, and what you do brings back into your life. So the story, the actions behind it to make it true or untrue, and the results. Something to think about, play with. This one was short, just to add on to what we've been talking about. And again, thanks for sharing my armchair.